So, as you may have guessed, the computer died on me with no warning whatsoever. Don't you love it when they do that? Okay, so radical feminism and parenting. Go and read the book. It's in the community tab because I've already got the second one mostly finished too and started on the third. So someone needs to read them. Love you. It's really. I mean, the first one's a slow burn, but man, the second one grabs you by the collar right in the first chapter and does not let go. Boy. Anyway, radical feminism is focused on female power, freedom, and independence, not on the reformation of males. Guys, it is not always about you, which is why I don't focus solely on the trans movement, which of course is a men's rights movement, and I do not. Um, and I try to cover both conservative and liberal sides of what young women look at, these days because, well, they're coming up right behind us, aren't they? I feel like we owe them. We have a responsibility to those coming up behind us. Call me sentimental if you will. And it's interesting to kind of have to raise boys with this idea in mind because I'm not trying to reform males. That's not my goal. However, I was given a golden opportunity, I felt, when I had my first one of just getting right in on the ground floor of the mind of some guy who is going to be walking around this world one day. How the fuck could I pass that up? Right? And I'd be stupid to pass that up. So I really just focused from the earliest times on communicating in every way that I could think of this idea that I am a person, a whole rounded, I'm not going to say well rounded, but a whole rounded individual with my own needs and thoughts and stuff. And by that, I do not mean just complaining about how I don't get to do my own stuff. I was 24, 25, I was grown and did not feel entitled to whine too much about that kind of shit. But demonstrating that by like, oh, I don't know, doing other things, and talking to him about it. These days, he's actually a pretty prolific artist. He draws all kinds of characters, and his drawings are very emotive and I think expressive. And I've always thought, shit, he used to draw stick figures that had more emotion in them than actual comics I've seen. So, by demonstrating that you are a three-dimensional human being, you kind of give them the message that they are allowed to be as well, which already undermines a lot of the cultural programming right off the bat, doesn't it? And that was actually an unexpected side effect that I enjoyed a lot. Have enjoyed a lot. Full disclosure, he's about to be 15 next month. And I firmly believe that, everyone goes through awkward phases, and especially in particular seem to go through an emotionally awkward phase right around the beginning of high school, where they're all just kind of jerks for a year or two. That's just, the fact of the matter. And that's where we're at right now, and that's been fun. I've come to feel that part of the organic way that they probably part of the organic way that they end up working through that in their lives is pushback from those around them. So I feel it's my duty to future girlfriends or wives or anyone who has to deal with him to push back on some of this shit where, he's just fucking thoughtless. Like I say, we all have our awkward phases. Okay, I'm going to put the link to the blog post back in the chat since we are in a new window now. Yay. Because the computer died on me with no warning. Hey, Mary, what up? Here's the blog post that we are looking at today. I'm not just going to be reading it. I'm going to be, going through it, using it as a step-by-step kind of thing to walk us through radical feminism and what it is, what it believes, and, picking it apart a little bit, stopping a lot, and, talking about how that applies to parenting. Oh, no. Oh, no. Girl, nah. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna, I have no desire to kick that bear. Nah, I got my little badge, and I'm good on that. Because, as I was just saying, radical feminism is not focused on reforming males, and I'm not solely focused on that stuff. So I really don't want to let that ruin this nice little thing that we got going here. Radical feminism is focused on female power and independence and freedom, and not on the reformation of males. So, like I say, coming at the, yeah, right? No, 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 no. I need to prove myself to who? Come on. No, and I thought that it would be nice to do a live though on this because it's just sort of an unusual topic. In case anybody had questions, so we could just sort of talk about it. And like I say, we're going to be going through this old blog post that I wrote, gosh, maybe as long as 5 years ago. Mostly just for my own benefit, for my own entertainment, on the basics of radical feminism and how maybe that applies to life a little bit, and why I think it is the obvious form of feminism. It deals with, stuff that women actually go through in our lives. Instead of being just sort of grandiose and, big ideas and cultural level stuff, and then just smearing that all over individuals like all of the other feminist philosophies do. So, yeah, guys, it's not always about you. Raising boys with that attitude has been interesting. And like I said, I did from the earliest make a large effort to communicate in any way that I could, aside from whining about it, that I was a whole three-dimensional individual with other thoughts and interests that were not directly about him. Mostly by doing them and having them in front of him and talking to him about them. So, that was fun. It was sometimes legit fun. And it has resulted in a kid who is a pretty skilled and gifted artist who draws some really expressive characters and has friends and goes to the roller rink in the mall and is, for all intents and for all appearances, a normal kid. I sit back in awe sometimes. But because it undermines a lot of that cultural conditioning before it ever, like right from the beginning, the idea that one is allowed, that there is space to be a complex three-dimensional person, and that's not a big deal. So I think then I've just kind of always felt that way. I'm just a rebel, I guess. I don't know. I have some sort of defiance problem, I think, because any sort of authority presents itself to me, and I'm like, why though? Seriously, ever since I was in elementary school. So, not to mention, my mother was the strongest masculine influence in my life growing up. She was never taught a lot of the gender roles herself, so she did not teach a lot of them to me because she did not know them. Does not know them. She's an interesting character. But, so that was the basic approach that I came at parenting with from the very, very beginning. And this was even before I had stumbled upon radical feminism and had it, codified and verbalized for me like that. And just everything else is the only feminism that makes any damn sense. Anti-capitalist, anti-racist, anti-classist, anti-imperialist. I mean, obviously, with the rest of that, right? Anti-war, anti-patriarchal religion, and anti-gender. Which, again, I'm like the anti-gender. I like dresses because I have a big booty. Which I mentioned in this post because, again, it is like 5 years old. And it's difficult to find pants to fit me comfortably, so I just kind of gave up after a while. Screw it. I don't have to. But I don't wear tons of makeup or jewelry. I can't be bothered. What a pain. And plus, I'm going to go outside. I'm going to work in the yard. I'm going to get sweaty and jewelry rusts, makeup runs. What the fuck is the point of that in that situation? I've always, I used to try to. That's the thing. It's not that I don't anymore. I used to try to. I still occasionally will be like, oh, those earrings are pretty. I'm going to wear them for a few days, and I will. And then I'll take them off and put them somewhere, and one of them will get lost, and I will never get to wear them again. And that's just my life. Yeah. Oh, Thank you for the likes, you guys. Seriously. And we're especially against femininity as performed by women. However, again, I have boys, so that's been just a different angle, right? Bored and put on makeup and go nowhere. You know what? See, that's like one of the best times for it, I think. You're just hanging out. You know, maybe if you have a friend or two there with you. Oh my goodness. I have. Thank goodness I was in high school back in the 90s. Oh my God. when things were on film, right? Because I have some embarrassing photographs of myself and a couple of friends doing glamour shots with no shirts on. Yeah, so like all that stuff would have been on Instagram or something because we were 16. Right, you had to go out of your way to take a picture, which we were shutterbugs. I have piles of shit of us just goofing around or having fun, playing dress up, that kind of stuff. And somewhere out there, her mother probably has the video cassettes of us dancing and stuff. Rocky, yes, bitch. Oh my God. We didn't go this year. I meant to. They have a really good show that they put on here in town, believe it or not. Out here on the edge of nowhere, they do a really good Rocky. And you know what? That's almost as a video unto itself, isn't it? That sounds like a fun video topic, maybe. Because the thing, from a filmmaking perspective and an audience perspective, the two things, I guess, that make Rocky a good, entertaining, something worth watching again and again and again and again, and is the music, right? And Tim Curry's right. No, yeah, the movie, it plays differently, that's for sure. Everything does, right? Once you sort of have the rose tinted glasses removed, the patriarchy tinted glasses, the internalized misogyny tinted, whatever, however you want to look at it. The thing that stops you seeing that shit, once you see it, everything plays a little differently, I think. But so that would be something to discuss, obviously. On the other hand, he treats the boy and the girl exactly the same because he's from another planet and it doesn't make a difference to him. Right? That would be a fun video topic, right? Or a live, maybe. Not today. I do want to say, though, because he's a transvestite, right? So, like, what does that mean? What is the trans? If you're an alien, how do you even do that? Does he mean he's dressed up as a person? He's clearly wearing woman's tights and whatever, but like that kick he does in those platform heels, my God, I can't do that in flat shoes. Whew. He was the villain, of course. But his performance is the other thing that makes that movie so damn entertaining, because if you look on paper, Frankenfurter is this thick, this deep. I mean, men wear heels better than women. They invented them. Heels are for men. They wear fishnet. They wear stockings better than we do, too. Okay, because my thighs are a little doughy and cannot keep stockings on them to save my life. They always roll off. And it was actually watching this movie that I first had this thought. I'm like, man, those guys have really toned thighs. Guys, just in general, have pretty toned thighs. Like they wear stockings better than we do. The hell is with that? Not easy having a good time. Even smiling makes my face ache. Right? Love Tim Curry. And he is definitely one of the two big things that make that movie worth watching at all. But they play a lot with gender and, the signifiers of that. And gender bending was super trendy at the time. Oh, you're welcome. I can rationalize just about anything. No, but seriously, we can take a step back from something as a piece of a work of culture, right? It doesn't even have to be called art. It's a work of culture. I definitely feel that one is. It is a marker, okay? I married into a military family. My parents are both my grandparents were all college graduates. Okay. I do not come from a conservative background at all. So the cultural clash has been very interesting to watch play out over the last few years. And one of them is, what does someone mean when you talk to them about Rocky? That's a tell for someone's cultural background, at least in the United States, that I've noticed. Because obviously, I'm going to think Rocky Horror every time. And sometimes with my husband, I have to clarify that I do not mean the boxing movie. I guess it is. I've literally never seen Rocky. I hear it's good. Why I want to watch Sylvester Stallone punch some dude in the face. I do not care. Rocky Horror is a cult classic, or Rocky the Boxer is a cult classic. I think they both are at this point. And like, I got no problem with Rocky. It's just not my thing, not my cup of tea. You want to watch Sylvester Stallone punch some dude in the face? Have a good time. I hear that there's actually a plot in that one. Yeah, Rocky Horror. Woo! Exactly. It's a piece of culture that has become a bellwether of a certain strong undercurrent subculture on the liberal side of the spectrum that I grew up in. I watched that movie for the first time when I was 11. And that is why you see me, the twisted wretch that I am before you. Not just that, but so many things. What's up, BF? How you doing today? But the same, right? But see, I know I couldn't have been 13 because we moved to Ohio when I was 13, and it was before that. I was at most 12. So it was on Comedy Central all the time. Oh my God, I forgot about that. Again, I'd already had it half memorized by that point. I had the soundtrack memorized already by that point, whenever that was exactly. Oh no. Oh no. A friend of mine rented it from the movie rental place and brought it over to my dad's house. One of the same two friends. Yes, tell a story. And then I'll read it out. I'll be right back. That boyfriend you had when you met him, you had him watch Rocky Horror Show, the whole Rocky Horror Picture Show for the first time with you. Hey, he treats the boy and the girl exactly the same when he does it to him because he's an alien from outer space, so it doesn't matter to him. Again, from a cultural perspective, it's a very interesting piece, in my opinion. Years later, he's wanting to dress up in my makeup, fishnets, dress, wig, etc. He wasn't weirded out by the men in drag. Who? See, if someone is weirded out by men in drag, I mean, there are various levels of reactions to have, of course, but, you know, if you like to the level of, well, that gives me pause, too. This was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, he was dressing up in your fishnets. So at that point, he's what, 30? Oh, shit, longer. Had been He's been dead 9 years. Oh, I'm sorry. He was 24. Hello Goth was like 20 years old. Boys with fishnets was common back then. Okay, so we're talking like the aughts then, right? College days. Ooh. Yeah, guy liner. We remember that. Yes, here's to guy liner. I miss guy liner. Mm. Mm. Man, I was 30 and 13. Mold. On Halloween, I used to put makeup on my guy friends all the time in high school. Right? my son, who I was talking about earlier, his father, the Halloween that we lived together, he did this completely independently of me. I came home from class to find him in the process of doing this, dressed up as a sexy maid with pudding in the in balloons for the, which was my idea because now and then, hello, I helped. I did. I helped him cross dress for Halloween. Everyone who grew up during that knew androgyny and boys and women's wear was a thing. It used to be so hilarious. Well, I like to think it still could be. But now they want to be taken seriously in entire spaces. Right, the lesbian in a man's body used to be a joke. Lots of guys did that for Halloween. It's so obvious, right? The gender swap is the most obvious Halloween costume that there is. I could literally just put on a jacket and a top hat, and a fake mustache, and go on my way. My dad used to joke that all the time. Right? I'm pretty sure I've heard my dad say it more than once. I try not to think about most things I heard that man say, though. Anyway, critical of heterosexuality. Radical feminism is critical of heterosexuality, marriage, and the nuclear family. Did we have the same dad? Oh, God, I hope not. God, I hope not. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. There's 3 of us, too, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone. It still is, but now they hate goths because it doesn't enforce gender. No, it does the opposite of that, actually, doesn't it? Yeah. I'm just kidding. He's been dead almost 2 years. I was lucky. Sorry, no, I'm sorry to hear that. I have been waiting for, mine's been chronically ill since the 1960s. Well, all right. Take what you will then. Whichever applies, I suppose. But no, he's been chronically ill, reliant on medicine, daily medicine, since the 1960s. He's 70 plus years old. Yeah. Yeah. And still out there just kicking around, being a destructive asshole. And so many people lost so many people recently, and I'm just like, this is not fair. This is not fair. Ooh, that one will take you fast, right? Yikes. But so, your dad will help you be critical of heterosexuality and marriage and the nuclear family, right? Dads are like instrumental in that, aren't they? Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear it's really painful too. I think that is what took Jobs, Steve Jobs. Yeah, no, mine's been diabetic for 4 years. Insulin dependent diabetic. 3 injections a day, sometimes 4. My whole life plus 15 years. Yeah. So, but yeah, he's still out there just kicking around being an asshole. Somehow. I like to think I inherited some of that luck, and I try to apply it better than just keeping myself alive. Aw, Oh, you're so welcome. That is what I really do. Again, I mentioned the INFJ thing. I know not everyone subscribes to Myers Briggs, but that shit was so cathartic for me to read a few years ago. I'll tell you what. It it allowed me to believe that maybe I'm not just crazy and broken, and I don't have to fix all of that. That that's actually just a way that you can be, and that actually focusing on uh, improving and honing any of that is worth doing. Lovely concept, really. I would say that for anyone. So that's why you find me doing the kind of like, no, yeah, tell a story. Let's talk about it because I love that shit. I do. Uh, all of it ties back to being critical of heterosexuality and the nuclear family and marriage, doesn't it? A lot of things. The older I get, the more I think that mostly everything could. You looked at it the right way because we all grew up with parents, didn't we? So every issue that you run into in some way is going to be connected with your experience of them. And I'm not saying that it is their fault. That's not what I mean. Yeah. A little bit of nuance. We're smart. We can have nuance. It's your experience of them, because of course most parents are going to be like, I did my best, and most of them probably did. A lot of them, a lot of us. Oh, terrifying truth here. A lot of us fuck shit up. Not exempting myself in that. I don't, the proof is in the pudding, and I do not have it yet. Like I say, my eldest is about to be 15. So, right, you did your best, and it's for shit. I don't honestly think that. I was about to say something very mean that I'm not sure I want to just spit out there like that. I'm not sure everyone does. I don't think everyone does. In full disclosure, I think just based on my observation, and I might be biased because of where I live and the level of the opioid epidemic around here is mind-boggling. Everyone has someone. Generations of children being raised by parents who didn't want them. Yes. Yes. Because it was mandatory, right? Yes. Yes. Looking back at history, I'm like based upon my understanding of uh like psychological development through, childhood and into adult, how that carries forward into adulthood and how some of that stuff can affect people's thinking and behavior. Like there are certain outcomes that and then the kids become parents and just repeat the same mistakes. It's all they knew. Exactly. Exactly. And they didn't actually want the kids in the first place, so they're not going to put forth the effort to like not do that because it takes effort. Oh, and dedication. Yes. So, but yeah, you look. There are certain outcomes that just tend to result from certain adverse childhood experiences. ACEs is what they call them. ACEs. Which is like, what is wrong with you people? You could have come up with any acronym you want. Anyway. So, different ACEs tend to have certain, plus babies don't come with instruction manuals. That is very true. But thank goodness the baby is literally the least high maintenance of the forms a child can take. I'm not even kidding. I know that they're intimidating because they're so weird and foreign and they can't talk or move on their own. However, those things kind of do work in your favor also because they never talk back and they never run away. They are. And you know why? Because there's only one of like 4 things they need. They're either hot or cold, they're hungry, they're tired, or they need a change. That's it. You go down that checklist, one of them is going to fix your problem. The end. That's it. And they can't run away, they can't talk back, they can't argue with you. They need to go somewhere, you pick them up, you fucking take them. Can't do that when they're teenagers. Oh my God, but that I could. Just sling them over my shoulder and be like, nope, come on, we're going. When they're 14, oh my God. But now you can't do that. And even if you could, it would scar them for life. What? You have an issue. Me too. I got so many. Babies cannot consent to having their bodies cleaned. No, but they also cannot consent to sitting and rotting in their own shit. And so at that point, you have to make a choice. Which one are you going to inflict upon them? Because they cannot consent to anything. It is weird. It is weird. Part of it is weird. Part of the reason that it's weird, I think, is because of our concept of consent and our concept of, agency. Seen your friends change their babies, and it's just like disrespectful. People are extremely disrespectful of small children fucking constantly. Always very against wiping kids. See, and that actually goes back to what I was saying about just kind of demonstrating the full-fledged three-dimensional human being thing. Like, one of those things was, my 3-year-old son saw me topless. My 3-year-old son saw me naked in the bathroom. And I saw him the same, okay? Because they're just bodies. We each have one. They're a little different. And that's all he needed to know. A 4-year-old should wipe themselves, yes. Sometimes they struggle to do that, though. And if you don't help them, they can, get sick, get sores and infected, and can get very nasty very quickly, depending on what they're wearing under there. Skin rashes on the genital area thing, and they're all right. Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. At that point, they can't consent to anything because they are too small to conceive of such a notion, much less do anything about it. That means that you have to make the decision, and it is a heavy responsibility, which is why when I say, if you don't want kids, please don't have them. That's not what I mean to say at all. She said her parents didn't let her because then she gets it in her hair. Thank you for explaining this. No problem. Ask me anything. And her parents will have to let her get it. They gotta let her get it in her fucking hair at home, over the weekend or something, and deal with it. Perhaps repeatedly. You have to let them fall and learn to pick themselves up. Otherwise, you're going to be holding them up for their entire life, for the rest of your life, because they will probably outlive you. Yeah. No, that's what I was about to say. I think estimate about 50% of our generation are just shitheads. And I hate to say that. Right, well, they let their kids be the bosses because it's easier than arguing with them. It's easier than actually enforcing the boundaries, okay? Because that fucking sucks. You think about the warden, he's also in prison, isn't he? I see a mom in the grocery store asking her 1-year-old what they want in the... Oh my God, yes! They do that around here all the time. My little one is 5. It's really hard to be a good... It is. It takes effort and dedication, and I will be damned if it did not harden my edges like nothing else in this life. Hallelujah. Okay. And thank goodness for it. I'm better for it. I would not go back and do it differently. Well, it would be nice if I had my own house, but otherwise, no, I would not take it back. I wouldn't. Which is good because, as I say, my youngest is 5, so I have so far to go still. Worked with kids with behavior issues that were caused by their parents. Well, and a lot of them are. A lot of the that's rough. Were you a therapist, or did you just sort of watch them and try and maybe educate them a little bit? Therapeutic support. Ooh. That's probably the hardest one of the whole. Because you're in that environment, but you don't have really the authority that you probably needed. Speaking as working school, camp, daycare, home. Nice. Like, you went out by yourself? Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Speaking as someone who was a home health aide for a while, and then I worked as a certified nurse aide for a couple of years at one point when my oldest was little. And yeah, like I say, you have... You're in this environment and you have these things that you're supposed to accomplish, but you don't really have the authority to accomplish them should they decide to just not cooperate with you. Yeah, I would have a million clients. I had like 5 with 2-hour sessions. Ooh, that's a 10-hour day without lunch. Maybe you stop for lunch, but you know what I mean. Still have nightmares about not turning in paperwork and not getting paid. Oh my God. My home health aide job, I had to turn my paperwork in a mailbox on this building. Classic memories. I did not keep that job long. I was like, you know what? I need to be in a facility. As nice it is, as fun as it is, hanging out with little old people in their living rooms. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be nice to have some support. Oh, the dog finally wants back in. Should I let her back in? Oh no. Down to my last cigarette. I should let the dog back in? Or are you saying yes about the paperwork? Because if the dog comes back in, she's going to start barking and stuff and then want to go right back out in 5 minutes. I can't believe that she's been out there this long. There must have been something amazingly interesting going on out there because usually she's back and forth all day. No, the dog. Like, it's chilly out there, but it's not so cold that she's going to. We're in Tennessee, y'all. Come on. It's like 40 degrees outside. Yeah, so as far as being critical of marriage and the nuclear family, that critical of heterosexuality, I am what you might call technically bi, but I'm married and have 4 kids, 2 of mine, 2 that, were his. You must be in Tennessee because you are the only Tennessee. Oh, you're so sweet. Made me blush. No, seriously, but yeah, I kind of feel like I'm on the front lines of this one as far as marriage and the nuclear family goes, especially for radical feminism, because, well, A, boy howdy does it need doing, and B, a lot of of us just aren't either married to men or mothers. So, fine, let it fall on me, it's fine. Other people talk more about things like prostitution and pornography and that sort of exploitation because they have more knowledge and experiences than I do. Good on them. I will occasionally share some of that stuff that I managed to actually get through because it's disturbing as all fuck. But, I support fully single and child free, and I fully support you. Do you? That is the whole point of liberation, isn't it? Then she wants to go back out again already. Look at this shit. Go on. It is. So this is my last cigarette. I can't believe this. Ella Arrow has great content, but it's so depressing and just makes me really hate and fear men. Right. And I did some research on this a few years ago. You're going to hear me say that a lot if we hang out for very long at all. You've probably heard me say that a lot. I did, though. Because sometimes these questions, they just nag at me. They just kind of pick at the edges of my mind. And I have to figure this shit out before it unravels everything. And it's something like 5 to 10% of the male population in the Western world are rapists. 5 to 10% estimate. Okay. I mean, fuck, even if you make it as high as 20%, that's still the majority that are not. But, so they may be few, but they are prolific. Okay, because one guy does not rape one time. Oh, no. Most of them are in the Supreme Court. I mean, a few, but most of them are out running around and have not had to admit what they did in front of cameras. Which is what I was about to say next, which is that they don't wear name tags, which is to say that you can't identify them on sight. They are not so stupid as to go around acting like fucking leches in front of you, are they? Even the most mentally challenged fellow is not. Right, you never know until it's too late, exactly. And even if it's only 5%, let's be nice. You don't know who they are until it's too late, exactly. and they're bigger and stronger than you, quite likely, lest we forget that the physical differences do exist and do make a difference. And this is a big reason why. And I bring this up every time someone says something like that. Exactly. That's 1 in 20. Right. Same. All right. Most of them are, again, my 14-year-old son is stronger than me, which has various applications. Okay. Hate superhero movies where the woman is super strong, so unrealistic. And she's a superhero, so you know what? Fine. Have a power fantasy. That's grand. But it doesn't address the lack of that. It doesn't address, it's not allegorical. It's literally just a power fantasy. It doesn't say anything other than, wouldn't it be cool to be super strong? Like Harley Quinn. Oh, is she super strong? Again, I would have to think really hard to tell you the last movie I watched that wasn't something I'd already seen that I put on to listen to while I was doing something else. I didn't see that one. Harley Quinn pisses me the fuck off for a couple of reasons, one of which is related to feminist politics, and one of which is not. The feminist politics one is, what the fuck, girlfriend? Why? What the fuck? Why that guy? Come on. Get a grip on something else. The baby talk, yes. She's just crazy. She's literally one of those characters who they just have do kooky shit and write it off as she's just crazy, and they don't have to actually have, like, a motivation that actually makes any fucking sense. Birds and Prey is the only one you saw. I did not see any of them. I am familiar with the character, though, mostly through her appearances in some of the older cartoons, which is where she moved up. In what way? I missed that. How did she move up? Like, she was created to give the Joker a girlfriend. What sick fuck thought of that? What sick fuck thought to themselves, you know what the Joker needs is a bitch to fuck with. What the hell is that? Well, I'm giving my opinion, and you're entitled to yours, and that's fine, and we can argue about it if you like. Although I am my last cigarette, so I'm gonna have to go and get some. Maybe we'll go to this gas station together. I don't know. Incels, that too, right? Yeah, man, exactly. Yeah. Some dude. It's always some dude, isn't it? Oh. Poison Ivy is a character who's always had a special place in my heart because, obvious reasons. I don't have it right now, but the red hair, right? Love her. No, yeah, good, because he's an asshole, and that's always been my, like, okay, she was created to be his girlfriend, but, like, even ignoring that, so you look at her and she's got a PhD. And you're just like, girlfriend, why? What? No. You know better. I know you know better. You had to take years of psychology to get the PhD that she supposedly has. And she knows better. Her background explicitly tells you so. Birds of Prey, they broke up and she's trying to find her own self. That's good. No, they don't prove smarts, but as I say, it proves that she took enough psychology classes to look at the Joker and know exactly what the fuck she's looking at. I know that, and I've read it in books, okay? I've never taken more than a couple of psychology classes. How do you have a PhD, be educated enough to work in a psych ward? She knows better. Yeah, no, and if somebody wanted to actually explore that character in a way away from the Joker, then that's the only way that it would ever possibly be interesting. Fictional character made by men, yeah, and there's so many of them. There are so many female characters that I'll just kind of be bumbling along, moseying through my thoughts, doing whatever, folding laundry, cleaning the bathroom, whatever, and this happened to me literally a couple of days ago. There's a character from one of my favorite books, maybe all that he... What's up, guy? What's up, guy? What's up? You alive? Yes. What's up?
Buddy. Last night, you said I could have YouTube today.
I did, didn't I? What are you guys doing?
We're sitting around.
All right. Well, you know what? It's noon.
Hello.
Put on some shoes, put on your boots or whatever, and go outside.
Hello.
Go outside for an hour, and then you can have YouTube. And you will be free because it'll be 1 o'clock by then. You can have YouTube this afternoon if you go play outside for an hour.
I can't stay out there for an hour.
It's nice. It's sunny. It's 40 degrees outside. Here's one boot. Go ahead, take it. Well, I guess you're not getting YouTube then. Shame that.
This. Why did they have to do this?
I don't know. You know what? My friends and I were talking about something. Yes, he does. It's closer to what mine naturally is, too. They can see you, Goob.
Right now?
No, you're hidden right now. Sort of, mostly. Top of your head.
Hi!
Babies are easier because they don't argue with you and they don't do this. You put them down, they stay there. Mary says hi. Hey, don't smack my tobacco. That's my last one. I didn't say it. Don't yell. Go get your other boot. You're going outside if you want YouTube today.
Hi.
Mary said hi. Her friend's kid used to throw his shoes at me. Oh my gosh. Man, you want to talk about just a little trickle of like that cultural bullshit. That's a line that keeps coming back into my head over and over again. Austin Powers, who I assume you remember well. He's doing Cincinnati jokes. Nice, right? Yeah, he's cute for about 20 minutes, and then you're like, all right, calm down, and he doesn't. Who throws a shoe? Honestly, you fight like a woman. How many times did we all watch that fucking movie, huh? It's a throwaway line, and it's just the kind of thing that for no reason is stuck in my head. I already told them how old you were. Sorry. And that's just one example of probably hundreds, if not thousands.
Guess how fast I am.
Very. They know that. I feel like we've done this before. And he knows it too. Go on. Run away. Be fast. Take your boot with you. All right. Oh boy. Okay. And so, yeah, I don't know. I guess I've just always had my mind has always just run to these kinds of things because when I first saw that movie, I laughed at that line. Obviously, I think like a lot of people, because he delivers it in a funny way, tricking kids into doing what you want them to do, but make it think it's their idea. Is that what I just did? It didn't work. He's back. Go on. Go find your other boot or you're not watching what you want to watch today. Oh. You got to go outside and play in the sun. Dig a hole. I do not care.
Creep.
Seriously. 1, 2. Which shoe do you want to put on first? Oh. Yes. Turning it into a question instead of a direction. Yes. Anyway, so radical feminism, I'm just going to go ahead and say this real quick, is against the hatred and oppression of lesbians because duh, they're women. Instead of put on your shoes. Right. Yeah. Yeah, I used to do that when my other one was little. He was a lot more suggestible, though. This one will literally just sit there and look at you and go, what shoes? Or neither. Or he wants to wear them on his head or whatever. I see you there, Goober. I heard you coming. 2.5. Go find your other boot. You didn't look. You weren't gone long enough. Do not.
I need socks.
Not for your boots, you don't. Or go talk to your brother.
But you would know where the socks are.
No, I don't. Yes. Which is why oh my God. I'm writing a novel. I'm actually, oh my God. Were you here when I said, like, The second one is as finished as the first one was when I posted it as a PDF like a month ago or something, not even. It just kind of, boy, it grabs you by the collar in the first chapter and does not let go. And now I'm 1,100 words into the third one. Yeah. And I have this, which is one of the reasons, I'll be honest, I'm here with y'all today. Because I was getting to make a pre-recorded video and whatnot. Did anyone read them? Because if they did, I mean, there's more coming down the pike. I want you to know that. Go find your boot. I am serious. I will take the TV away. You are half number away from me taking that TV away. Go and get your brother. Tell him you need to help him. Tell him you need his help finding your boot. 1, 2, 2.5. Do not come back in here again in bare feet. You got caught up. I'm running in circles, right? Oh, the book is in the community tab. There's a link to PDF in a post on the community tab. So if it's right, 1, 2, 3 magic. It's not magic. You have to when they're little, you have to make that a real threat. Which means you sometimes have to strike them. And thank you, VF. That would be so cool. I have literally one person who's confirmed to me that they read it and hasn't told me nothing else. Oh my God. Oh, excuse me. I have to go and beat on the door. I'll be right back. The whole second hour this week. Huh? I sure didn't. He's sitting right there keeping me company every time I cook dinner. Yeah. Like, you don't have any more socks. You don't have any. The dog is eating them. Gets out. Go play. Why is it like pulling teeth to get them to go play? That's the name of the technique used in therapy. Leaving feedback. Thank you. And you know, this lady is someone who I know personally in my real life, and I love her to death. And she's busy and was sick, and that's fine. You know, no hard feelings or anything. But it's kind of like, why? Oh my God. The first one is a slow burn. But it's mostly set up for the second and third ones. And like I say, the second one is a doozy. It just really no feedback at all. Although to be fair, I was supposed to call her yesterday to fix that because I was pestering her about it. And she said, I'll call you. And then she called me 10. Oh my God, I was in the middle of finishing up editing the second one. I was literally like in the last chapter of the last edit of the last 10 minutes before I had to go pick my kid up yesterday. And she called me. I'm like, I'm kind of swamped right now. Can I get you back later? You know, she's like, yeah, sure. I'm like, I love you. Thanks. Bye. And I hung up, and then I did not call her back because it was Friday. Great. When I'm in the zone. Exactly. And when I got my eye on the clock, because they literally had like 10 minutes. Mind you, she has kids in school. She was at my kid's school that day serving lunch. It is not cold, but put on your red jacket, okay? Because you have a t-shirt on. Anyways, I was legit surprised by the way the second one went. And it's a little dense and complicated. So if anybody has any questions, if we get to that, I would love to. Or the first one, if you have any questions, I love questions. Radical feminism recognizes and condemns male violence against women and children, animals, and the earth, which goes along with the anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist, and all that stuff. Supportive of female segregation and female-only spaces. It's literally in the charter. If we had one, it would be. No promises, but if you read it, you will get feedback. That's great. That's great. Thank you.
Where exactly is that?
Where's what?
The red jacket.
I thought it was on the couch. It's bright, stinking red. Look there on the chair in the kitchen. We're talking 3 yards of fabric with like bright red lightning bolts all over it. No, listen. I understand that people do not come to YouTube to read. I get that, and that's okay. It's not mandatory at all. But I wrote it. And I love you guys. So, and it's, female protagonist kind of stuff. First person. It's the themes that develop throughout become more and more applicable to a lot of the stuff that we talk about. Needless to say, because that's just how I think. Awesome that you were sharing. Oh, thank you. It's awesome for you to say that. I can't not. At this point, it is eating up my life. I don't know if you've ever known anyone who wrote a novel, but it just sort of runs away with you. And again, it's 3 segments of this whole long story of this lady's life. And number 2 was a doozy. I am actually embarrassed to have written some of that. Like, I wrote those words, and I'm going to have to put them out with my name on it. And if I don't, then I can't publish the book. So, but it was a doozy to write, and I think it's going to be a doozy to read if anyone gets there. Anyway, another word that so female-only spaces should be a gimme. I say that in this blog post that, here, I'm going to give you all the link again in case anybody wants to follow along with what I'm reading. Because it is a blog post that I wrote like 5 years ago, mostly for my own entertainment. It's sort of a basic introduction to radical feminism and what it is and what it believes. So it's pretty easy to go through it and just kind of apply it to my methods of parenting, or apply my methods of parenting through it, or something. Exclusion has become a dirty word, but sometimes being exclusive is the point, like making the dean's list or joining a hiking club. If you don't make the cut or are unable to go hiking, then those groups are not for you. If you're a male, then the ladies' room is not for you. This felt like a gimme 5 years ago. Mostly. Man, oh man. If that doesn't just kind of sting, doesn't it? Write Substack, and I get that it takes a lot to keep ideas going. It's not that I don't have ideas. Like I say, I don't want to. I got 1,100 words into the 3rd book last night, and I was up until 3:30 because I finished the 2nd one. So the 3rd one started, and I'm like, I want to go to bed. I know where it's going. I know how it ends, but anyway, radical feminism is anti-rape. Like, everyone should be anti-rape. I think most people, everyone discriminates who they spend time with or marry. Right. Well, you can only marry, for the most part, one person at a time. Categories. The idea of labels at all is discriminatory. It's just this sort of civil rights mentality has become, again, I like to use the word smeared just all over stuff that it does not belong on. That we have come to misunderstand this word, because discriminating against Black people in your establishment is bad. Discriminating against spoiled food in your restaurant is good. Discriminating against people with low grades is what the dean's list is. You can't wait for somebody to bring that shit up. Imagine having the time. Anti-BDSM, it feels so obvious. You know, and it's just sort of, you have to fall back on just logic after a certain point. It's like, yeah, you can determine your own perspective of your own reality. All fine and good. However, if you're telling me that you enjoy someone hitting you badly enough that it leaves welts and bruises, I think you might need to talk to someone about that. Because that would seem to be some sort of internalized self-destructive urge that you are projecting onto this other person who, for whatever reason, is willingly participating in some sort of weird folie à deux with you to reenact some kind of trauma of yours, which is either mental or physical. Speaking for myself, I've never really been manhandled, roughed around like that much, but do I need to know that it's bad? I feel like I don't. Most people only have time for like 6 close friendships. I think most people only have the psychological capacity for like 6 relationships. People are complicated and weird and unpredictable. And, you know, this is one of the things that makes me laugh. I don't know if anybody is poly, but my sister was for years. And I just always used to kind of chuckle to myself because how does that work? One relationship between 2 people is already just this cornucopia of complexity and weirdness. Then you're going to add a third vector on that? Really? Like the whole level? On every level, you're going to add a third vector on every level of that relationship? Does that seem like a great idea? I don't think so. This seems very intimidating to me. But again, I'm an introvert, so having one relationship is intimidating to me. Morally absolutist and culturally universalist on issues relative to female oppression. And this is the part that I've been driving at that I really, really wanted to get to before I have to get off of here, because this is my favorite part. Morally absolutist, which means that bad things are bad. Period. Logically, someone hitting you bad, hard enough to hurt you. I'm not talking about a stage punch. I'm not talking about friendly taps. I'm not talking about, hey man, how you doing? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about hitting you with enough force to hurt you, leave marks, is bad. Hurting someone is bad. Because it's destruction of themselves, of their person. Right? So that's bad. One woman is demanding enough, right? Yeah, right? Ugh. Not to mention men. Oh my God. I read this recently, maybe y'all will find this funny too, that there's apparently only one version of the Y chromosome on the entire planet. Doesn't that explain a lot? It's like, yeah, they're all different in their humanity, but in the part that makes them a man, they're all the same. Their manness is all kind of the same. And when I read that, I was like, wow, that explains so much. We can wipe them out easy. Yeah, but then that makes us the genocidal maniacs. I mean, we did learn from the best. Anyways, culturally universalist on issues relative to female oppression. So if you're hitting a woman, that's bad, and I don't care what your reasons are, and I don't care how either of you is dressed, and I don't care what the circumstances and the context and the culture, and I don't care what your God says. I don't care. And that is they're genetically vulnerable. But like there are so many other applications for that. Besides annihilating them and becoming what we despise, right? There are so many other applications for that fact. And I'm not denying that. Women are more different. There are more different sorts of women. Psychologically speaking, they're more different. Especially when it comes to, like I say, the woman part. The colorblindness actually runs in my mother's family. The boys are going back. My great-grandfather was apparently completely colorblind. And my uncle is partly. color deficient, and the women in that family all are tetrachromats. That, because apparently those two things are linked, and to the sex genes. Fun stuff. We're learning science. We're doing science. But yeah, so morally absolutist, and I don't care. I don't. And I'm going from the very, very basic foundational concept that we're alive. Therefore, to us, destruction is bad. Being constructive, building things, nurturing things, growing things is good because we're alive and we would like to continue to be alive. I don't know if that's related. Is it because your eyes are so light? Oh, I don't know. I don't think it's related to that. It's you have a fourth color cone in your eye, supposedly. And I have not seen a whole lot of evidence for this, other than a couple of arguments I've had with people over what color things were. I remember my ex one time. I asked him to hand me my lavender scrub pants. I'm here for the life of him could not figure out what I was talking about. And when I finally just went over there and grabbed them, he said, "Oh, those are blue." They're not though. They're clearly purple. And I don't have them anymore, but. I have weird color dyes. They're kind of dark blue and then lighter blue and then like a light brown around the middle. If you've ever seen a red-haired person with weird eyes like that. You think you have that too? It's a woman thing. It is. It's one of those weird ways that sex matters that isn't directly related to childbirth at all. You know, you don't have to be a mother. You don't have to do any of that for all that stuff to still matter. But we all know that. The kids must be on the porch. Wee! I know, right? I know. Crazy times. Crazy times. Oh my goodness. And here comes the little one. Can you hear her? Tick, 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 tick. All right. Yeah, tetrachromacy is fun. And you can't really test for it on a computer. You have to go to an optometrist office because computers all reproduce color a little differently. Each one screen is, going to be tuned and reproduce the light just a little differently. So you can't trust them for fine-tuned color tests like that. They can do your colorblind test because that way, you either see the color or you don't. I went ahead and did one with my phone one time anyway and got a super high score and was like, yeah, I had a feeling. It's one of those things, I have a boring superpower that's good for nothing. Only with color codes, you can see colors others can't, right? Oh my God, the yellow school bus used to piss me off so bad because yellow is my favorite color and those are orange. Right, you think. It's very difficult to really, because how do you know what the fuck other people see and don't see, right? But it's one of the clues is it's going to be in the yellow spectrum because yellow is actually the color that the fourth cone senses. Other people don't actually see yellow. They see what is, a combination of, I don't know, red and green light maybe combined in their eye and they were by their brain, which I if I ever deal with color, I do paint. I am not a photographer. Light color theory is just like completely alien to me. It's very cool, but very weird. But the inverse of the yellow is like the purple, though. So anything in the yellow spectrum, you're going to see more of than other people. The hexadecimal is the math behind it. Girl, don't even go there. I cannot follow you there. I understand what hexadecimal is, and I understand what math is. And I see how that might apply, frequencies and whatnot. That's as far as I go. I have no interest in attempting to apply any of that because I will not be able to do it. Nope. This is going to frustrate me. Sorry. That one's up to you, honey. You love math? Great. That's awesome. Somebody should, because I don't. I'm not going to do it. I'll do some of the other stuff. You do the math. That's great. Huh. And if you want to explain it to me after you've done it because you're excited about it, I will try my damnedest to follow along. I have learned some very interesting things from other people over the years, but like that though, like shit I would never have gotten into on my own. Can't write for shit. See, there you go. So I cannot do anything more than simple arithmetic. I hated algebra so much. I took that class twice, if that tells you anything. Both semesters. I took them both twice. But so yeah, going back to the culturally, morally absolutist. And when I say moral, I mean good. What is good? Well, good is not hurting things because hurting things and destroying things is bad. And I argue that because we're alive and we would like to continue to be alive and healthy and happy and comfortable as long as possible, right? Right. The moral relativism, cultural relativism leads directly into moral relativism. Because then you have to look at someone, beating his wife because he considers her his property. Which, not that beating your dog isn't wrong too, because again, the dog is alive. So hurting it, partially destroying it, is bad. How computers know which color is which in Photoshop can generate the code for any color. Yeah. See, and that's another really good point. Application for mathematics, which is why I love that other people are interested in shit that I'm not. I love that because then we wouldn't have this. If everyone in the world were like me, it'd be a lot calmer out there, but we wouldn't have a lot of cool stuff. So, like, I love to talk about explorers that way because, like, I would not be the one on the boat. I wouldn't. I'd be the one staying at home, be like, write me when you get there. Let me know how it goes, Going out on, a boundless, nameless sea, just to explore and see what the fuck is out. No. Strikes me as rather insane, actually, but then we wouldn't be here. I literally wouldn't be here, so can't argue with them. And then people talk about wanting to go to space. I'm like, why? There's no air there. You need air to live, remember? That sounds terrifying. Why would you want to live in space where there's no air? We'll terraform it. Okay, well, we'll let someone else terraform it, and then I'll visit. Yeah. Want to stay inside with indoor plumbing. Can't shower in space. Right, see, because we're not supposed to be there. All of the things that we know dearly and love about life are here, which one of the best things I've ever read, and I wish I could remember where I had read this, was that, humanity is made, and developed, whatever you want to say, fit for this environment of Earth, because all anybody can come up with when they're trying and imagine heaven is a glorified Earth. And I've never managed to find an example that wasn't, in some way, that. Maybe they do it in suits or use wipes. I mean, yeah, right. Like, we're smart. We'll figure out ways around shit. But I just come back to the no air. Like, no gravity? Whee! I can fly. Sure, I'm fine with that. No air? No air. So that if you get a leak in your little tin can, you could die. Which, a boat on the ocean. They're analogous, I think. I'll go explore the woods. Where my feet are on the ground and there's air and shit. But that's me. That's me. And people are different from me. And we have, as a species, have accomplished a lot of cool things because of people who were very different from me. And I look at some of the stuff they do and I'm like, why in the fuck would you ever do that? But you can't argue with results, right? So speaking as an American, I'm just going to shut up now. Leave space alone. I know, right? And the other thing is, going back to just basic logic of constructive versus destructive and life versus death, can't we maybe figure out some shit down here before we go spreading our mess all over the fucking solar system? Take care of our own planet instead of junking our planet, right? And you know what? Aside from WALL-E being adorable, I have shown that movie to my kids a bunch of times exactly for that reason, because fuck, I was 25 the first time I saw that movie and it hit me like a brick. I was like, holy shit. Because as an adult seeing it for the first time, you recognize it pretty much immediately. It's not subtle, you know? Like, oh my God, Walmart ruined the world. Holy shit, that could actually happen, maybe. The Lorax scared you? The old one as a kid? I mean, the new one scared me for entirely different reasons. I'm going to go ahead and light this now. It's 12:30. We'll go ahead and give it another half an hour and go ahead and do our 2 hours like we normally do. Because we really did get to the point that I wanted to get to. You know, I was an adult having like a dissociative episode. Oh, I have those sometimes. Oh. Was it the new one or the old one? God, I hope it was the old one. It one's gentler, I think. The new one. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. That movie is dreadful. It's dreadful in that it's cute and palatable and sugary and not really sort of non-offensive, and a couple of the songs are actually kind of catchy and the characters are kind of funny. And then you step back and look at it and think about what it is and what they've done to it. And I kind of threw up a little bit in my mouth, I think. Everything is my fault. Oh my God. No, oh my God. That movie was so bad it pushed you into an existential crisis. My God. It's kind of epic. Yeah. No. I am not making fun of you. I do not mean to make fun of you. Just because if I phrase something in a humorous way, it's you laugh or cry. Right? Sometimes. And sometimes the most absurd things can be the thing that push you over the edge. Absolutely. Definitely smoking something at the time. Thinking you made... Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, definitely smoking something at the time. Well, you know, that is a tool like many things, in my opinion, but I digress. Yeah, no, that new Lorax movie was terrifying and I hated it. And I hope I don't ever have to watch it again. It came out at just the right time, though. Our kids were right at that age. Research chemicals. Oh, boy. Yeah. You were smoking research chemicals? You know, I had a very geeky ex who had some of them a couple of times. And I was underwhelmed, honestly, but maybe you got something good. Synthetic cannabinoids. Nice. There's all kinds of weird synthetic stuff out there. Right? See? When Mother Nature provides, why are we so arrogant as to think that we can improve upon it when all we need to do is pick it and dry it? Life causes dissociative episodes for me in high quantities. Oh, it's like my default reaction to being overwhelmed and just, you know, just trying to switch off and sail through it. I don't know. It works all right sometimes. It bites me in the butt other times, but sometimes it works pretty good. Anyway. Oh, I did want to say, if anyone is reading this, there was one edit that I would make if I remembered how to log in and do so. I don't care what your religion says. If you think educating girls is a waste of time, you are part of the problem. If you think a woman's value lies in her body, whatever form that belief takes, you are part of the problem. Now, I would add only. If you think a woman's value lies only in her body, because, well, and I'm not sure if I meant to write this honestly, or if I, left out a word, perhaps, because, like, your value is is not the word I would maybe use. DXM. I don't think so, but being conservative with my drug use has served me well through the years. I'm not sure what that is, though. Remind me what that is, please. Anyways, your body has value, and the fact that it is female. Oh, No, no, no. I've always had too sensitive a stomach to chug that shit like that. We did try eating a bunch of nutmeg once, though. A million years ago. It's bad. Yeah, there's that, you know. No, I don't vote. I stayed home and got voting isn't cool, so I stayed home and got trashed on Listerine. Fry used to take the pills. Yeah, I literally never thought of that. But you want to know what my childhood was like? I did not know about the phenomenon of cold medicine until I was in college. I used to just power through them. My mother never bought them. I assumed they did not work. Yeah, until I was in a really bad way my freshman year of college. And it was those are like literally the only friends I used to find. I'm bad for that. 18 or 19. Yeah, no, but I did not know about cold medicine. I did not know it worked. We did not use it. We used to just power through shit every year. And every year I would get something too. And then I was in college and I got my annual cold and somebody shoved these pills in my face and I was like, sure, fine, whatever. You say it'll help me, fine. I'll do whatever. And so I ate them and I felt better, like normal for hours. And when they wore off, I was like, holy shit, that must have been the medicine. Well, hot damn, it's medicine and it works. I feel like such an idiot. Needless to say, I've since incorporated that into my stuff that I do. And eventually, at the end of the post, I get to the point that calling me every name in the world won't stop patriarchy. It won't stop the epidemic of male violence. Someone came at me saying he had to confront me because he couldn't let dangerous bigotry and hatred go unanswered because I'm such an evil turf. This was years ago. This is old news at this point. I asked him to go pick a fight with one of the many thriving white supremacist groups, but told him I understand that picking on me is easier. Just don't pretend it makes you some kind of hero. Radical feminism is about liberating women everywhere from the tyranny of patriarchy. If you don't want kids, great. If you do want kids, great. Let's talk about those two things. We can split off into groups and discuss them, separately if we want. We can not do that. We can do that and then come back together. I think we should definitely come back together. But it's about all women wanting to, living however it is that we live. And we know who we are. And everyone knows who we are. And we should be able to talk about that. And the many, many, many different aspects and levels and facets and whatever of that. Except that it's every time this conversation is attempted to be had, some man has to butt in and muddy the fucking water, right? And again, it only takes 5% of them to fuck everything up. So not all men. Who gives a fuck? Irrelevant. Not the point. It only takes a few. Because they're prolific and loud and entitled. So, yes, all men. Not all men are rapists, though. See, that's what I'm talking about. They all benefit from patriarchy. They do, whether they want to admit it or not. Whether they want to admit it themselves or not. Yes, exactly. They all benefit from patriarchy. No, but what I'm saying is they're not all aggressors. They're not all combatants, if you will, in the battle of the sexes. Some of them are just dopes or jerks. Right. All of them benefit from it. Yes, they do. By definition. But how that specifically plays out on an individual level is an individual thing, which, like I keep saying a million times over and over again, here and there and everywhere, that you cannot take these big, sweeping, cultural framework type statements and just smear them on an individual and leave it at that. A lot of it's not going to stick, for one thing. Then you just look like an idiot. So, well, anyone, not you. Me. Anyone would look like an idiot doing that. Agree. Yeah. See, so we have to, as much of a pain in the ass as it is, there's 7.5 billion people on this planet, and sometimes we have to take something on a case by case basis. Not all men, you try. That's what I'm saying. Like, not everyone is a combatant in this. And the same is true of a lot of women. You know, it's easy to feel self-righteous looking at a woman who is not conscious of these things and not aware that maybe she ought to, you know, it's an unknown for her. And it's easy to look at women like that and judge them. Why are you doing that like that? You know, why are you wearing all that makeup? Why does she dress like that? You know, which is, of course, that's just falling back into the same trap. But I consider people like that non-combatants, if you want to think of it that way, because they you want to talk about consent, okay? If a baby can't consent to having its bottom wiped, then I don't think that woman can consent to you imposing your judgments on her when she didn't even realize that there was any judging going on. She didn't realize, you know. Or maybe she did and she's willfully ignoring it, which is a different issue, which is still her issue and not ours. So, yeah, I'm really very uncomfortable with just the smearing of the systemic onto the individual. In any case, it doesn't work, and it just confuses everything and everyone. Because she was told that her value is her beauty. That's why she wears makeup to the gym. No, right, exactly. And that's the other thing is most of us, I think if not all of us, have some level of understanding of why she's behaving in that way. So it's easy to sit back and be judgmental, but we should not do that. And anyway, that's not how you win anyone over, is it? If we're actually trying to help someone, that's not how you do it. Which isn't feminism talking, that's just psychology. And you're never going to liberate her and have her happy to be in your company of the liberated ones are going around judging everybody. Oh, no. It just doesn't work at all. Going back to basic logic again. Imposing anything on somebody from outside without their permission is bad. We're going by basic good versus bad. I'm going to go with that. It's just a universal bad. You look beautiful, but your value is not in your looks. Yeah, that's nice. I mean, I hope they ask first. And there's some value to looking anyway, in that it elicits reactions and can impose certain perceptions in others. Again, that's a different topic for a different day, I think. Because they say not to judge a book by its cover, but it's literally A, the only part that you can see from a distance. And B, we all express ourselves to some extent. Pretty privilege is real. Yes, it is. It is. And and you know what? I would love to talk someday, maybe when we exhaust all the important topics, about the redhead thing. It's brown right now. I don't know if you can really tell. It's still brown right now. Yeah, but it was red, almost as red as his. A little darker. More copper. But that's what it's been my whole life. And I've noticed that since it's been brown, people are nicer to me. Do you remember? Yeah, old school. People are nicer to me. All of a sudden, I'm the boisterous, friendly brunette instead of the overbearing redhead. I guess is what it is. They're more friendly. They react more friendly to me instead of being like kind of. Yeah. I went ahead and I know you're not supposed to, but I did. I dyed the eyebrows too, and I have mascara on because otherwise I have blonde eyelashes. I look like the Mona Lisa. Yeah. I've always thought of the red hair as kind of like my equivalent of having enormous breasts. Because people see it from across the room, and before they speak to me, think they know things about me. Call that prejudice, call that whatever you want, I guess. But and it's one of the few out there that it's still okay to make the butt of a joke, for whatever that's worth. It's hard to argue that it's on the same level of oppression as some people have based on their physical characteristics that invoke stereotypes. But it is real and it is a thing, and it's something that I've always dealt with. And as a passionate, articulate person, oh, the redhead's mad. Watch out. Oh, God. Can you sing Annie for me? No, I could, but I'm not going to. Because fuck you. And fuck Annie. Gingers, yeah. Actually, the funniest thing about Little Orphan Annie is because I'm from Indiana, and the guy who wrote the original poem called Little Orphan Annie was James Wickham Riley, who's also from Indianapolis, like the same town that I was born in. I've been to his house. I knew who Little Orphan Annie was before I knew who Annie was. All the blonde jokes, right? See, there's stereotypes for each of us, aren't there? And that's the kind of cultural stuff, going back to like the, you fight like a woman, the little just trickle. Cultural, I'm kind of growing more and more obsessed the older I get with this concept of just the drip. Because where the fuck do we get these ideas from? Okay? I'm waiting for someone, when we get back around to acknowledging women exist at all, I'm waiting for someone to make the argument that being self-loathing, right, yeah, exactly, but where and how? Okay? Like, we all know that we're being indoctrinated at this point. I don't think, 20 years ago, that was a conspiracy theory. Right. Exactly. But 20 years ago, that was a conspiracy theory, and I don't think a lot of serious people would argue against it at this point. That actually is a big part of the third book that I'm writing right now, actually. So that's probably going to be something that we touch on more in the future, moving forward here soon, this year. But I digress for the moment. But, so the specifics and the, like I say, the granular day-to-day level of the where and the how are we getting these messages from? And, I don't know why. Still, they changed the public's perception of the color green. What do you mean by that? You watched the details? No, I didn't. I haven't watched the programmer's video about that, but I did know that. Bullshit marketing campaigns. I did not know that when I was 20 and started smoking, though. What do you mean they changed the public perception of the color green? Again, I'm like 75% sure I'm a tetrachromat. So to me, green is 100 different colors. I think my perception of stuff is just a bit left of center, which I've learned to be more than okay with. Like the 1930s. No, yeah, the cigarettes thing with they did that publicity stunt, right, with the suffragettes. I want to say it was earlier than the 30s. I want to say it was in the. I mean, I'm very intrigued about this thing with the color green, which, like, I've heard this thing that supposedly, like, maybe the ancient Greeks and Egyptians, like ancient people, didn't have a word for the color blue. And I'm just like, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. That every once in a while, and again, I'm getting older, so this is the sort of thing you just kind of pick up over the years if you pay attention. Every once in a while, there'll be something like that, where there'll be this fun fact that no one knew before that'll just sort of pop up in the zeitgeist, and everybody be like, oh, that's weird and interesting. I had no idea. How odd. And just sort of accept it and move on and just sort of roll it in with everything. And then, 10, 20 years later, you find out that that was not true. That it was bullshit, that it sounded weird and strange and outlandish because it was. Having celebrities wear green. Women didn't like the packaging. Oh, on the cigarette packages. Yes, I did hear about that too. I don't know if it was from her video. I don't remember. Again, some of her videos are just a bit intense for me, which much love and support, but I can't always get through them. And you know what? I like green because grass is fucking green. I like being outside. I like nature. Leaves are green. Green is a healthy garden. That's why I like green. Very intense. Sorry, I can't always get through them. But love and support, you know, and I've shared at least one that blew my mind a while back. But, you know, I'm over here in my little corner tying little threads together, which is, you know, sort of fine, delicate, and focused, intensive work. And then somebody comes along with just a bomb, a truth bomb that, you know, magnificent. But I can only take so many in, you know, a span of time. Watched all of them. Not in one day, surely. Hang on, I'll be right back. The drag kids. Oh my god. Like I said in my last video, I would be a lot more skeptical about the normalization of pedophilia being anyone's end goal somewhere, if not for the fact that it just keeps on coming up. Decade after decade after decade. Like someone is trying to find a chink in the armor. I'm sorry, that's just what that looks like. Even if it's different people having the same thought in each successive generation, that is just what that looks like. I used to like horror movies. I don't need them anymore. Life is a horror show, right? I used to like thrillers a lot. Now I'm writing one. It's great. And living one. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask her how long we have.
15 minutes.
15 minutes?
Get out.
Come on, man. Give me 10 seconds.
And then I'm gonna have to let y'all go because, as you see, life has its demands.
15 minutes.
Not very, really. It'll fly by if you go find something to do. Get out.
I'm in chapter 3 of Poppy Playtime, as you can see.
That's fantastic. Go.
Foxy Boo's out there.
One. Baby doll, you can tell me about it after I'm done, okay? I love you. Thank you. I don't want to be a bitch. I really don't. You like my content being light. It's a nice change of pace from the other stuff. Oh yeah. Yeah, agreed. And like I say, I just finished I finished book 2 so quickly, and when anybody gets around to reading it, it will it gets very dark. And as I was alluding to earlier, the whole thing is much more related to our present reality than it might at first appear. So, kind of beginning to realize some of the ramifications of that have been harrowing. Which brings me back to conditioning. And how in the fuck do these ideas get in there? I'm waiting for someone to make the argument one of these days here, relatively soon, that it's just inherent to the female psyche to experience high levels of, you know what? I'm actually, who was it? It was Jordan fucking Peterson who made that argument. He didn't even make the argument. He just implied that it was true. Or did he just say that it was true? I think it was implied. And I commented on this at the time. It made me want to read it. You like things that are attached to reality and have some effect on your, outlook on like anything that matters? Me too. Don't worry, hon. I'm not going to spend all of my time on something that is just frivolous. I'm just not that sort of person. That's why I can't be bothered with the makeup and the jewelry, I guess. And yeah, it's fun sometimes, and then it's not, and I take it off. Frivolous things are treated frivolously. Gil Dines explains how this happened. Social trends. Uh-huh. But why? Right. Manipulated is right. Yeah. And I the more history that I look at and the further back that I try and get to take in more of the scope of events, the more it's like I just think of that episode of Doctor Who. If anyone has ever seen Satellite 5, where he steps out of the TARDIS and first he's all, oh, humans, and then he looks around and he's like, but wait a minute, these guys are like 500 years out of date. Like, this isn't what this should be like. Like, I've been here before and this wasn't what it was like. Like, what happened? You know, and you look at fashion. I've actually been wondering this since I was a kid. Why in the world has men's fashion not changed basically at all, with perhaps the addition of sagging skinny jeans in any permanent way for like 40 years? Why? Why has music not changed? I have been trying to ignore what sounds to me, and I'm educated enough. I have an audio tech degree. I know that this isn't true, but I could swear that I have been trying to ignore these same songs blasting out the windows of cars going by on the street since I was in middle school 25 years ago. And then you look at the 25 years before that, going from 95 back to like what? Is that 1970? Look at the variety that they had and all the change that they had. That which song? That awful fake hi-hat. That's like up on top of the mix and like all of that shit. It's the same beat, I swear to God, in all of them, or damn near. And it's not the amen break. I like the amen break. I like a nice break beat. In my opinion, a nice break beat picks up just about anything. It's not that. It's that fake like that. Been giving me the shivers since I was like 12. I hate it. And it just doesn't go away. You know, and we cycle through these trends. It's homogenization, right? But why? Especially since when you look at the technological arc of the last 25 years, you would think, and there has actually been in practice a decent amount of the opposite of that. Where, you know, since communication has proliferated and been made basically instantaneous, you know, the sharing of ideas and the growing of ideas and stuff has mushroomed in a lot of ways, right? And some of them not great. A lot of them not great. And come to find out, these platforms upon which we are doing this cultivation are heavily curated in ways that they didn't even want to admit until they had to. Like the soil in the garden is fucking tainted. So why? That's what I keep asking myself. Why? Not even so much how, because I think if you figure out why, that will probably tell you the how. Ads, business, degradation of capitalism, the music business, right? Money. You know, I could have sworn somebody said once that the love of money was the root of all evil. But but money is not sentient. Money doesn't give a fuck, which is the problem with it, really. It's the problem with capitalism. Capitalism works for capital, and capital isn't human. It's not alive. It doesn't give a fuck about your life, about anything's life. It would happily burn you up if it brought up the bottom line. A lot of people are playing it safe, yes, because they have to. Because if you try and actually fix any of this, well, every once in a while, I stumble upon a story about somebody being mysteriously murdered. for trying to seriously investigate and fix some aspect of this. That's the extreme end. Most people just don't want to get in trouble. They don't want to lose their job. They don't want to blah, 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 be made to be the bad guy because it's on a cultural and sometimes unconscious psychological level because of their conditioning. Their friends and their family, a lot of them would be against them, and they know that. You don't think it's capitalism? It's the business model that disincentivizes artists taking risk, which that's capitalism. Hedging its bets. Artistic risks often do not pay off. They are often expensive and do not have a good ROI. That is capitalism, I would say. Yeah. Speaking as a former artist myself / writer. Yeah. And then, like I say, I went in and got a tech degree from music business people at Full Sail University. So, yeah, I've known a goodly chunk of some of those people who worked in that industry for chunks of their professional lives. I've met these people. I worked with these people. I was educated by some of these people. Even in capitalism, the management can decide to try to innovate. Yes. And innovation under capitalism has one goal. And it's not a better product or better customer service. It's better profit. Bigger is better. Which I can't. The obvious logical conclusion of that is that it's unsustainable because nothing can expand infinitely. At least not on our planet with its finite loop of resources. I'm definitely not the first person to make this point, and it's become much more common to sort of get there these days, especially with something like music that can be sold, let's face it, even if it's subpar. Right, so the music industry management could decide to try to innovate. They could find me an example of them actually doing so for a motive other than money, because they thought it would sell. And they used to have these guys back in the bad old days in the 60s and 70s. It was their job to go around to nightclubs and shit and find new acts, undeveloped acts that they could, kind of train up. One of my favorite stories is actually Alice Cooper. You know the song 18? I'm 18 and I don't know what I want. Dude thought he was saying edgy. He thought the name of the song was edgy. Like, that's how bad they were. You couldn't even understand what the fuck he was up there singing. And they signed this motherfucker because he was edgy. He was cool, and they thought it could. They thought they could market it, and they thought it would sell, and they were right. Money is a motive, sure. What's another one that ever supersedes that? Yeah, find me a situation where money is not, at the end of the day, the bottom line, if you'll forgive the pun. The sort of thing where it's spread to things that are not economic. And that happened a long time ago. And you know what? Money, in a lot of circumstances, is actually power, isn't it? Sure, I just feel like there's nothing really better, just different. Expletives of economies? That's true. That I'm not an economist, and I do admit I'm not sure what would be better. What system should we have? That's a good question. It sure would be nice if before we go to the next step, if we could just take a really hard, serious look at the stuff that we're on and figure out what's going on. That might help us in figuring out which way to go. It's my thinking. Derailing good conversation. No. I support dissent and discussion and debate. Okay, being respectful. Money is power, right? And so that's fine. If the buck stops there, where is there really resources? Wealth is access to resources and control of them. That's what it is. And it's all about the tussle over control of resources, just like it always has been. Dressed up in a nice suit. We should have matriarchy. Yeah, I think matriarchy would look a shit ton different than patriarchy. I don't think it would just be women holding the whip. I don't. Even as a younger person, and part of this is just my temperament, but especially as a mother, you are much more cognizant of how everyone is connected to someone else. There's no such thing as an other. It's not a thing. They may be other to you, but to somebody else, that's their kid, their brother, their dad. And if he's a real dickhead, then you just start to feel bad, for them. No, it wouldn't be. What wouldn't be? I'm sorry, I'm babbling. You have to be specific. I talk a lot from topic to topic. Shit, and it's after 1 o'clock. Kid wants to go to the mall at 2, so I'm gonna have to let y'all go in just a minute. Come on, Mary. Wouldn't be what, honey? It wouldn't just be women holding the whip? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, I really don't believe that it would be. And that's the thing that people always leap to. Like, the world would only be better if women were in charge, like in the native indigenous populations in America. Right. And I think that it would look something more like that, especially if we could, in an ideal world, just hit the reset button on patriarchy and just have it have not been a thing. Okay. So we get to take all of that rage and all that internalized hatred and just do away with it. Okay. And start back on an even keel, which is actually the problem. I don't think we started on an even keel. There's evidence to suggest that women invented farming, which would have robbed, Neolithic men of a large part of their role in being the main providers of like food, which again, access to resources, with long houses where we stay in the mother. No. See, uncles of a child are more important than the father. Okay, now matrilineal, yeah. Right, sisters, brothers. Okay, I have no brothers. What then? Like, legit question. What do you do then? I have no brothers. My husband has no brothers. He has a sister too. So what then? And then I have 2 sons. They were literally, my son was the first boy in an entire generation in my family. He grew up surrounded by women. Actually, funny anecdote. James and the Giant Peach, that movie, which I hate for reasons because I think it's creepy, but that's me. He couldn't get through it. He would not sit through the first 5-10 minutes of that movie, and it was the second or third time we tried it. Eventually, I figured, there's a little boy being tormented by 2 redheaded women, and there's my son sitting there with me and my mom. Wasn't foraging before farming a woman's job and the main provider of food. Well, if there's no hunt, then the men help forage. But if there's no hunt, then people starve because there are certain proteins and, enzymes that you need from meat. You can't just live on berries and nuts. You can't do that. So, you know what? They're finding evidence that like women helped hunt too. So it was not a black and white either or thing, which is fucking fascinating, isn't it? It's almost like your personal aptitudes matter. Because this is a fictional example, but women like Brienne of Tarth exist. Okay? Some women are big and strong and aggressive and would make fantastic fucking hunters, and you would be a fool to leave them behind. Some men are the opposite, aren't they? Some men would make dreadful hunters, and you would be a fool to bring them along. And again, we're talking back in the Neolithic period when it's live or die. So I just can't imagine that they were hung up on that kind of thing. On, oh, nope, you're a girl. You have to stay here and pick berries, even though you're 6 feet tall. What? Yeah. Which is, again, where moral relativism just falls apart. Because it doesn't fucking work, practically speaking. You know, if you're trying to stick morals where material reality just is not flexible, it doesn't care how you feel about things. But that's sort of a digression from my point, which was, yeah, matriarchy would not look like patriarchy. Because women are not just like men. I think that follows pretty easily, doesn't it? And the only reason that I think that it would, in any large part, resemble patriarchy is because we've been trained that way. Oh my God. The amount of just shit that I find all the time floating around in my own mind that, you know, I'll kind of snatch it out of the air and look at it and go, that's Butch's shit. I'm going to go ahead and question that a little bit and take an extra look at that. You know, and see where maybe that might come from. How do we know anyway? All of this is highly politicized, which is a shame. History is fascinating. That's right. And we're never going to get down to any kind of real answers because that's what we want to know, right? That's why history is fascinating, because we want to know where we came from. We want to know our story. People love stories. We want to know our history, where we came from, how we got to where we are, the context of our lives. And yeah, it's very different. We're all biased. We all have a lot of biases. And man, looking at the early stages of archaeology is a trip on that. Matriarchy is a great topic for another live. I would have to do some research on that one. But yeah, you're right. Earlier we were talking about doing Rocky Horror. There's two different, on the face of them at least, very unrelated topics, huh? I think V left. VF, did you leave? Are you going? I think it's just me and Kelsey and Mary here. Which, thank you for sticking around with me. I'm always nervous about getting on these, but they're so much fun. And I do encourage discussion and debate. I don't want to just stand up here and pontificate. Shit, if I wanted to talk to myself, I would leave the computer off. It's a pain in the ass. So yeah, I encourage y'all to go look at the blog post. It's fun. It's old. So Rocky Horror is a better topic for another live. There's a lot to dig into there. And boy, do I know my material on that one. I would have to do no research whatsoever. I probably would anyway, just to double check some facts. But yeah, no, I could recite whole scenes for you. I could sing the soundtrack, the whole thing, the whole soundtrack. With the exception possibly of Janet Weiss. Because I used to skip that one. Wise up, Janet Weiss. Yeah. I used to skip that one. So I don't know if I know all the words to that one, but the rest of them, probably. And you know, even then, his performance, his vocal on that is just beautiful. And that guy has a beautiful voice. And I refer to myself, late in this post, as a straight lady. Because for all intents and purposes, I am. I'm married and have 4 kids. Technically, I am bi, but it is irrelevant. Immaterial, more like. It's immaterial. Literally. I don't stand here and try and speak for any of that. I speak from my experience. Is everything all right?
We went to the shed.
I see.
Yeah.
Go to your room.
Why?
So you can go through the stuff.
Yep.
And I can finish up here because I'm about to done. I'm about to be done. Okay?
Can I have YouTube now?
As soon as I get off of here, I'll come and find you.
Yay. But now YouTube.
Not right this minute.
But you said I could have YouTube.
I did, and you will I'm finishing up. That one tests my patience in ways I did not know was possible. Because my strategy for dealing with people who just drive me fucking crazy is to avoid them as much as possible. It's always been my strategy, and it served me well until I gave birth to one. A kid, the quickest way to get him to leave you alone is to tell him to come here. And I can't just abandon him here. No, hello. I can't do that, so I will hold you to me, Kryptonite. He and his dad have a lot in common, which makes me question my life choices every day. Oh my goodness, no, he's not. Go and bang on the door and tell him to get the heck out. Oh, and the last paragraph is rather inspiring, if I do say so myself. I encourage everybody to go read the post, go look at it. It's fun. It's just a basic overview of what radical feminism is and what it believes. And yeah, I think a lot of it applies to parenting because a lot of it applies to life. And to me, it's the most straightforward, practical kind of feminism that there is. And I was overjoyed to find it. To find that it was a thing, and all of a sudden other people understood what the hell I was talking about. Get out. Oh my goodness. You gotta assert your boundaries, ladies. You gotta assert them and you have to maintain them. Like a Roman sentry. I'm telling you. Like Hadrian. Okay? You gotta build that wall and you gotta, oh my god, reinforce it over and over and over again. Because you want to share your whole heart with people, but it's not a great idea. If only because then you have nowhere to yourself. Hard-learned lessons of motherhood. I don't know if that's feminist or not, or radical feminist at all, but I would say it's feminist just because it's important for all women and it's difficult. And going back to the conditioning and whatnot, we are conditioned to put ourselves last. Where does that come from? Like, where does that message? Like, I would love to have the time, and someday I will have more time to go and just sort of list off these different ideas and sort of try and trace them and parse them out, at least for my personal understanding of where the fuck did I pick this stuff up from. How in the world did I have these ideas baked into my mind before I even understood what the fuck female really is? To the point where, as I grew older, they just started to kind of click into place. And a lot of us have experienced that maelstrom of just dominoes falling when you're like 15, 16, 17 years old. Yeah. For any women who do, participate in BDSM, where does that urge come from? I've known too many of them to just tell myself that they're deluded. Anyway, we're over 2 hours, and I think most everybody's gone, so. All of that is actually a key theme in the books that I am writing, because fiction is at least as effective a method for delivering philosophical and theoretical ideas as anything else, if not more so. Found radical feminism 2 years ago. Ooh, still fresh. Love it. God, for me, it was like going on a decade ago. Judgment from other girls. Right, but where do they get the idea to judge them? Where? Like what Gail died. Let's see, that's just a snake eating its own tail. Girls judge each other because girls judge each other? Come on, we can do better than that. This thing went out again. It's almost like I don't want it. I'm not super familiar with Gail Dines' work. I admit that right now. But that doesn't... Media. Right, but people create the media, or at least they did until very recently. And apparently even AI art is stolen from actual artists, which In what way it's AI, then I don't know. I haven't bothered to look into that garbage. Like it talking about stuff that pops up and people are like, ooh, wow, and then it turns out to be bullshit later on. That'd be another example of that is random like computer brain stuff. Wow, look at this amazing computer brain that can do this amazing computer brain thing that no person can do. And then 75% of the time it turns out to be fake. A gimmick. Seeing social conventions around them and wanting to be normal. Right, but so why have these conventions taken the shape that they have over time, especially with the level of concerted resistance that there has been over the last 150 years? Again, I'm going to have to go rewatch that episode of Doctor Who so that I can quote from it amusingly in context because it applies so perfectly. And, it's Doctor Who, so it turns out to be some ice alien or something. I don't know. I meant to rewatch it. But pretty sure we're not dealing with ice aliens. I'm not going to say that. Aliens. Oh, my gosh. No. I'm pretty sure it's some kind of mechanistic outgrowth of the acts of human beings. And our just sort of basic human reaction to certain things being manipulated and taken advantage of. Pretty straightforward. But when you compound these things over generation upon generation upon generation, it becomes complicated and complex and weird, just like anything. History resistance is part of that. Yeah, but the thing about that is history is written by the victors, right? We all know that. How many times did the resistance get either completely smeared and all the good shit they did just forgotten on purpose or left out altogether? One of the hot things that you find in history these days, actually, is some historians gone back and did a lot of heavy detailed research in a bunch of super old paperwork and discovered something like that. Can't believe you never heard of Gail Dines, number one rad fam I found. Okay, well, it's not that I never heard of her. I'm not familiar with her work, really. You encounter these names and these people and their ideas. I haven't read any of her books. Again, the last book I read was years ago at this point, and I would be hard pressed to remember which one it was. History is just what happened, not what's been recorded. Right. But what gets recorded matters to the culture as it continues to progress down the line. Excuse me. Like if you look at English history, which I tend to do because American history leads right to it. I basically consider that to be our history as well, in large part, because they're the ones that literally founded this country. I don't read, watched her talks. Ooh. Okay. That's right. You did say you don't read much, didn't you? Yeah, I just basically said the same. I don't read much these days either. Watching talks, that's duh. I don't know why I never think of these things. That's a good idea. I'll have to do that. I'm sure I can find them easily. Right? But yeah, so what gets recorded matters. And one of the reasons that we find ourselves in the weird, just fractured cultural mores that we find ourselves in right now is because of recorded media. I love recorded media. It is weird, wild stuff. Some of my favorite people, some of the people who have influenced me the most in my life, died before I was ever born. And I got to hear their voices from their own mouths saying their thoughts, like themselves, almost right to me. And then if I wanted to, I got to rewind it and watch it again. How fucking cool is that? How many generations, 5 now, maybe 4, have had that opportunity? And before that, it was books, paintings, if you were lucky. It affects the way the culture develops. It affects the way that we perceive ourselves in the world. It does. How the fuck could it not? She goes really deep into how the media has been grooming the culture for decades. That is right up my current research alley, madam. You got a favorite link? Because, like I said, I got 1,100 words into the novel last night. I probably don't have to work on that today, even though I really want to. Anyways, here is. Oh, I'm supposed to be looking out for an email from somebody. God damn, I'm bad at this. I wish I could just have people text me. I suck at email. I've been trying to do email for 25 years. I suck at it. I'll just admit it. I suck at email. I suck at it. Find me one. That would be great. Maybe comment on a community post, any of them, and I'll see it. It alerts me when people do that. That'd probably be the easiest way to get it to me, because I got to go, girls, ladies, women's, peeps, folks, beautiful, wonderful souls out there somewhere who are interested in any of this kind of stuff. Well, it just tickles me to death to know that anyone, other people's minds inclined toward these kind of things. Makes it all worth it, doesn't it? Telegram. No, I'm guessing that's a messaging app. I have Signal. Which is funny because I am so out of the loop. I don't even know what Telegram is. Oh, my nose itches a token and histamine. This is not fair. Anyways, I don't know if you're on Signal, but I do. I have that. Ooh, that is some pretty shiny stuff. That's a nice watch.
Can you show them?
Sure. They were digging around out in the shed and brought a bunch of stuff in the house, and this is one of the things that was in it. It is a nice, shiny little woman's watch that is ticking away and says that it is an hour later than it is, but it's otherwise fairly accurate. So,
Can I have it back?
yeah, but when you're done with it, I want it.
I'm gonna keep it.
It doesn't fit you.
I'm gonna keep it to school.
No, what? Fine. I hate clocks anyway.
You hate clocks?
Man, you want to talk about something that's enforced hierarchy on a natural system? Popular in Russia. Yeah, Signal is a messaging app that's, I guess, super private. I had somebody recommend it to me a while back, just to avoid having to give out my number. Which I'm not. I mean, the worst thing that's going to happen with that is somebody's going to start, like, call you and harass you, right? And then you just change your number. It's a pain in the ass, but shit. The first time I had stuff like that happen to me was when I was a kid. We used to have some pervert call us on the phone after school when I was like 11, 12 years old, because he knew from experience calling the house that my mom wasn't home. You hate TikTok? Yeah, I hate TikTok so much. I think I downloaded it one time just because Trump was going to make it so we couldn't do that, and that pissed me off. I never set up an account. And I've seen what it does to some people. Not everyone becomes an alcoholic. Hell, not everyone becomes addicted to heroin. The numbers of people who actually become physically dependent on heroin is shockingly small. Not the point. It's still a very bad problem. The number of people affected, it only takes 5% to fuck up everything. Jesus, there's another t-shirt. It only takes 5%. Like the sound of clocks. Oh, you hate the TikTok of clocks. I actually find the ticking soothing. I'm weird. It's a regular noise. It's irregular noises that just drive me bonkers. But it's more the way that they measure and regiment things. It is the dinner hour. Are you hungry? Who gives a fuck? It's time to sit down and eat now. Who am I talking to? You guys, I guess. Did I wander off there? It wouldn't be the first time. Won't be the last. Sorry, full disclosure. My son's a bit of a space cadet. He comes by it honestly. No, yeah. And it's like, well, it's time to get up. The alarm went off. It's time to get up because you have to be at work by a certain set time. Are you tired? Who gives a fuck? Get up. I hate clocks. Who else am I talking to? I think you blocked someone. Oh, as far as I know, Mary, there's no one else here. I only see you in the chat also. Top chat. Stupid shit. There, now I got live chat. And I still do not see anyone else. Right. Ooh, I just saw your message. TV, movies, advertisement, all controlled by men. Yes! I think you're going to like the books. I do. I think you're going to like them. Right. So it's regimented. And it's the most I feel weird saying this, and I'm not sure why. But it strikes me as a very masculine approach to life. They're very regimented, we're just going to break it up into even pieces, and that makes sense, right? There, see, it's logical. I mean, yes, I suppose. And it is nice to have everybody agree on a measurement so that we can all, I don't know, show up in the same place at the same time without having to go and collect everybody. That is nice. But, like, beyond that, the way that even I myself have just, I don't even want to say absorbed, I want to say built on from foundational levels of thought. Because I felt that I had to. I'm an intuitive person. I am not the kind of person, like, I hate lunch. Because it's 3 hours after breakfast. I just finally got going. I don't want to sit down and eat again. Are you crazy? Okay, so that's my world and how it works. And then so I felt like I had to, I don't know if adapt to, but work within, the system of time measurement, because duh. That's the modern world. But again, why? Why is that the modern world? Why is the modern world something that is so completely and utterly counterintuitive to me? Now that I've downloaded Signal, what do I do? I'm sure there's a find friends thing or something. No, I don't want to update right now. Let me see if I can find what my name is on here or something. Settings. Oh, I can see my phone number in here, but whatever. Yeah, I'm just Sarah Othokian on there. It's pretty straightforward. Don't eat breakfast or lunch. See, breakfast I have found is mandatory for me because otherwise, by 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm a mess. And I can't eat lunch because my stomach is all in knots and I can't think straight enough to make it anyway. Especially as I get older. Mary Jane. Nice. Cool. There's space in the middle. Or not. No capitals. Also, the having to eat more thing, I definitely noticed more since I was pregnant the first time. It's almost as if they leach nutrients from your bones. And I say leech in merely the mechanistic and literal sense. Of course. Anyways, I am extremely easy to find because I am the only person with anything remotely resembling this last name, except for my husband and my son. He made it up. But so that is something that I think maybe if you have never had children, if you've never been pregnant and given birth and done all been through all of that, then I wager that your body will age differently. I think that just stands to reason. Because you used it different. I can't believe it's 1:30, girl. I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go. Oh, I don't know what I gotta go do, but it's something. I'll remember here in a minute. It'll all come flooding back to me. And I look forward to you dropping me a link and whatever else. Or say hi. I wish I remembered to do that more often. People do that to me sometimes. Like Leslie Farrington actually is one who will do that. And I just love. Mwah. Hey Leslie, if you see this, I don't know if you will, but I love that shit. And I'm the kind of person who I'm always working on something. So I'm like, oh my god, distractions. Ah, oh, like. So drop me a line and I will try to respond as quickly as possible because otherwise I will forget. You got to be honest with yourself. If you can't be honest with yourself, what do you got, right? You can't find me. What a pain in the ass this stuff is. Now, maybe I was looking in the wrong place. Yeah. No search results. I don't. How? Honestly, I've never really played around with this because fiddling around with messaging apps is like the opposite of my idea of fun. Sending links to jail dines. Cool. Yeah, like I say, that's probably the simplest because it alerts me when people do that. And yeah, I would love to pick someone else's brain rather than having to do all that research myself. I wager a lot of people have access to resources that I just don't. All right, here they come. They're coming to take me away. Ha. Hi, I'm sorry. I know. No, I know. But if we're gonna get ready to go, then I have to get off of here and let us move on with our lives. So big thank you and love to anyone who is hanging out with me today, especially Mary. And who do we see? Ooh, Red Blaren was there for a minute, and of course the new girl. What was her name? Shoot, Kelsey. And I think I saw BF there for a while. That was fun. I wish she hadn't dropped off, but maybe one other person. Whatever, it was fun. Yeah, somebody does. Speaking of lunch, I never really had breakfast because I had to get the 1,100 words I wrote last night typed up before I got on here and was done with about 15 minutes to spare. So I should really go eat before I go run around outside. Yeah, I hope everybody has a wonderful Saturday and a wonderful weekend. And maybe next weekend we'll do the Rocky live. Who knows? I will try and remember to. Hey, baby, can you not do that, please? Go bang it on something else, okay? Like anything else in the whole house. Not bang it on the YouTube. 5 seconds. 30 seconds. Please. I'm being nice.
Please don't have to YouTube.
All right. Speaking of being nice, that is asking nicely, and I am basically done. So very well. All right, go on. Go ahead.
I can make this into a scorpion mobile. You want to see me turn this into a scorpion mobile?
I do. Ooh. Can I show the camera?
Yeah.
Let me see. Ooh.
But you gotta keep the tail like
It's a scorpion mobile. Kids are great. You have to go play outside. Yep. Okay. I'm basically just burning time at this point because I was literally in the middle of saying goodbye. Do you want the YouTube or not?
This watch can make so many things.
Those things are fun to play with. I remember playing with my grandma's watch when I was a kid that looked a lot like that. Take it in the living room. Go and put on your cartoons that you wanted. That I finally said you could have, and then you stood here and just... I'm telling you, the fastest way to get him to go away is tell him to come here. 2. Awesome. Thank you. What's nice? The 1100 words, is that what you're talking about? Yeah, I mean, it is nice, actually. The first chapters are really nice. The first chapters are the second one and the third one are both really nice. The second one, God, I felt so bad. I feel so bad. I feel like I created this beautiful thing to just smash it to pieces. It's rough. Full warning. Second one's rough. He wants my attention. He does. But I can't have it. My adoring public wants my attention first. No. Seriously, though, I gotta go. It's been real. Thank you so much for hanging out and making my day. The scorpion, yes. They're fun, aren't they? And, gosh, it says we got 4 people in here. I hate to go, but it's been almost 2.5 hours. So if anybody wants to get in on some meaty discussion of radical feminism, how it applies to parenting, and some other loosely related, just juicy and underserved topics, I encourage you to go back and watch from the beginning. Because, boy, we just don't waste time around here. We do not have dead space around here. We're all go, and we're picking apart the threads, of this modern world. Have a great day, Mary. You too. Have a great day, everybody. I don't know. I kind of like the lives. These are fun. They don't get as many views, though. So that's a conflict. But, whatever. Thanks for the chat. You too. You too. I think, you know what? We should do Rocky next week. And everyone's heard of that. So what I'll do is make a quick short or something as like a bump for it. To drum up a little interest. And maybe we'll have more than 3 or 4 people show up at a time. That could be more fun. Yeah. That could be nice and easy too. Because if I know me, and if the last month is any indication, I'm going to spend most of the next week writing the 3rd book. I know how it ends, so wish me luck. I love you guys. Seriously, y'all. Have a good day. Bye.